Moving on, we're going to talk about the comparison of children. So, a lot of times we want to draw on this comparison between children, and in the home it happens especially with siblings. But even in the classroom, it can happen between classmates. It can happen with peers. It can happen with neighbors. It can happen to children on the park in the park. But we want to avoid starting these rivalries between children of anything you can do, I can do better. We want to avoid that because it can lead to explosive issues and lead to more problems than solutions. Because not only are you now damaging the child's self-esteem and how they feel like you view them, because when we view children, we don't put a value on them, but children put a value on themselves. Like, I'm important to my teacher because I do help her around the classroom. I'm important to my parent because they love me and I help out and I'm a good boy. I'm a good girl. And things like that. And so when we're starting to draw these comparisons between children, and I've listed a couple of examples on the screen, I wish you were more like your sister, or why can't you be as good as your brother? Your sister can do this just fine, why can't you? You're one of the only ones I have these kind of problems with. You're now damaging that self-esteem. You're bringing them down lower, and they're starting to view themselves as having not as much value to you as others around. We don't want to show children that they're not as good as the people around them, because then they're constantly going to be creating these comparisons. And this is where, especially in teenage years, it's I'm not as thin as the person next to me. I'm not as pretty as the girl across the class. I'm never going to get a boy to ask me to prom. I'm never going to be able to get a girlfriend because I'm not as good. I'm not as smart, so I'm not going to be able to get into those advanced classes, because they're drawing those comparisons. Children are naturally going to do that. So when we reinforce that, we're doing nothing really but harming them later on and making it more explosive. We need to remind children that we like them for who they are, their personality. There's nobody in the world just like you. You are a product of your environment. And so that's going to create your personality and your traits from your nurturing and your upbringing and your biology, and all of those things working collaboratively are going to create you. So comparing you to somebody who's not you is not fair. And again, we want to just try to avoid those kind of things. We want to have that open, good communication with our children.